Every man carries a world inside him, a world no one ever sees, a world he rarely speaks about, a world he protects with silence. His silence is not emptiness. His silence is a container of unspoken truth, of emotions he never learned to express, of wounds he never had permission to reveal, of responsibilities he carries quietly, because he believes he must. Carl Jung once said that every person has two sides, the side they show the world, and the side they hide from it. But for men, this hidden side becomes deeper, darker, and heavier. He hides it because society trained him to. He hides it because he fears judgment. He hides it because even the woman he loves may misunderstand what lives inside him. Behind his calm face, behind those quiet eyes, behind that controlled posture, lives a storm he never speaks about. Today, we step inside that silent storm, not to expose men, not to blame them, but to understand their inner world. Because behind every silent man is a story that shaped him, a fear that still follows him, a burden he still carries, and a love he still protects. So take a deep breath and enter this quiet universe with me. This is the first truth a man feels in silence. A man feels unseen even when he's standing right in front of you. He doesn't need constant praise. He doesn't need someone worshiping him, but he deeply longs for something. He rarely asks for to be seen, to be acknowledged, to feel like he matters. Most men grow up hearing just one message: be useful, not be yourself, not express your emotions, not show your heart. Just be useful. So he builds his entire identity around what he can provide, what he can fix, what he can carry. But deep inside, he wonders, if I stop being useful, will I still matter? He will never say he feels invisible. He will never say he wishes someone noticed the small things. He will never ask for recognition, because men believe asking for appreciation is the same as showing weakness. So he stays quiet. He keeps moving. He keeps giving. He keeps carrying the weight of being important without ever asking if anyone sees him. But his eyes, they tell the truth. A man who feels unseen begins to disconnect from life. He feels replaceable. He feels unnoticed. He feels like a background character in his own world. Yet he isn't asking for much. All he wants is a moment of recognition, a moment where someone looks at him and truly sees him. Because when a woman genuinely sees him, when she notices his effort, his intention, his quiet sacrifices, he comes alive again. He becomes open, soft, loving, present. Appreciation is to a man what affection is to a woman. It is emotional oxygen. This is the first thing he feels in silence. I hope someone sees me. And then there is the second truth he never speaks about. A man feels the pressure to be strong, even when he is breaking inside. He's expected to be a mountain, solid, steady, unshakable. But mountains crack too. They just do it quietly. From childhood, he hears, don't cry, man up, handle it. Be tough, don't show weakness. These words become his identity. These words become his prison. These words become the reason he never reveals what is tearing him apart inside. So as he grows, he learns to carry everything alone. His financial stress, his fears about the future, his guilt, his doubts, his failures, the pressure to provide, the pressure to stay calm, the pressure to solve everything. He never says, I'm tired, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, I need someone, I can't carry all this. Because to him, weakness is dangerous. Weakness feels like losing respect. Weakness feels like disappointing the people he loves. So he stays silent. He keeps walking. He keeps carrying battles no one sees. Not because he wants to be distant, but because he does not know any other way to exist. This is the silent truth every man carries. He feels the weight of the world, but doesn't know how to put it down. There is another truth a man carries quietly, a truth he rarely admits out loud, even to the woman he loves. It is the fear that sits deep inside his chest, the fear he hides behind strength, the fear that shapes the way he loves, the way he reacts, the way he pulls away, and the way he holds on. And that truth is this: a man fears losing the woman he loves more deeply than he will ever say. He won't show it. He won't cry about it. He won't talk about it. But inside, that fear lives like a shadow, following him everywhere. Carl Jung believed that a man's soul contains a feminine energy, the anima, the emotional, intuitive part of him. When a man truly loves a woman, she awakens this inner energy. She becomes woven into his psyche. She becomes a part of his emotional identity. Losing her doesn't just mean losing a relationship. It feels like losing a part of himself. And so he hides his fear. He buries it. He swallows it. He pretends it doesn't exist. But it shows up in other ways. Ways he doesn't understand himself. When he gets quiet after an argument. When he becomes distant after feeling rejected. When he shuts down instead of explaining how he feels. It is not because he stopped loving. It is because he doesn't know how to say, "I am scared of losing you." He knows how deeply a man can break. When a woman walks away, he has seen other men fall apart silently. He may have felt it in his past. Pain that taught him never to show this fear again. So when he loves now, he loves carefully. He loves protectively. He loves quietly. He loves as if something fragile must be guarded in silence. If the woman he loves grows cold, if she becomes distant, if she acts uninterested, he may shut down before she can walk away, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much. This is the third silent truth a man carries. I'm afraid of losing you, even when I pretend I'm not. And then there is another quiet wound men hide, a painful truth that they almost never put into words. A man gets hurt by the words of a woman far more deeply than he will ever show. He might not cry. He might not argue. He might not get angry. He might not walk out, but he feels every word, and he remembers it for a very long time. A single sentence can echo in his mind for months, even years. Words like, "You never do anything right. You don't care about me. You're not enough. You're a failure. Maybe another man would treat me better." He may stay silent in that moment, but inside, something cracks. And Carl Jung explained this as a break in the masculine self-image, a psychological wound that cuts deeper than any physical pain. See, men don't fall apart loudly. They fall apart quietly. A woman might cry when she's hurt. A man, he withdraws. He gets quiet. He stops speaking. He walks away to process pain alone. Not because he wants to punish her, not because he wants to control her, but because he does not know how to express hurt without feeling weak. So he swallows it. He buries it. He packs it into silence. And that silence becomes distance. He's not distant because he lost love. He is distant because he felt pain he doesn't know how to voice. This is the fourth silent truth of a man. Your words touch the parts of me I don't show anyone. And then there is a quieter truth, a softer one that lies hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. A man feels unappreciated for the things he never talks about. There are sacrifices he makes that no one sees. There are decisions he makes that he never explains. There are quiet battles he fights every single day because he believes someone depends on him. He wakes up with responsibility. He sleeps with responsibility. It lives inside his mind every hour of his day. But he never asks for credit. He never demands recognition. He never expects applause. Still, deep inside, he hopes she notices. Because appreciation is not a luxury for a man. It is emotional nourishment. It is the soft touch that reminds him his efforts matter. When a woman appreciates him, even in small ways, he becomes more confident, more giving, more expressive, more invested. But when he feels unnoticed, when his silent sacrifices go unseen, he begins to shut down, not out of anger, not out of ego, but because a man cannot pour from a cup that is never filled. This is the fifth silent truth he carries. I do so much quietly, and I wish you saw it. These are the hidden emotions that shape the way a man loves, the way he reacts, and the way he protects his heart. He may never speak these truths aloud, but they live inside him. silently guiding everything he does. There is another truth a man carries quietly inside him, a truth that shapes the way he behaves, the way he connects, the way he loves. It is something he rarely talks about because he barely understands it himself. A man feels emotionally lonely even when he is not alone. Not because he lacks people, not because he lacks love, but because he has been conditioned to hide parts of himself that desperately need to be seen. He can sit in a room full of friends and still feel isolated. He can be in a relationship and still feel emotionally disconnected. Not because he doesn't care, but because he has never been taught how to share his inner world. Carl Jung called this the silent fracture in the masculine psyche, where a man feels deeply but expresses very little. He grows up being told, be tough, control yourself, don't show emotions, don't be needy, don't depend on anyone. So when he becomes a man, he carries this emotional isolation like a shadow behind him. He doesn't know who to talk to. He doesn't know how to open up. He doesn't know how to ask for connection without feeling weak. And so he stays silent, even when his heart is heavy. He stays composed, even when he feels overwhelmed. He stays calm, even when he needs comfort. This is why so many men fall into a silent depression, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, invisible collapse inside their own thoughts. He won't say it, he won't show it, but the truth is, a man is often emotionally starving in a world that expects him to feed everyone else. All he wants is a place where he can finally exhale, drop his guard, and be seen without being judged. This is the sixth silent truth a man carries. I feel alone, even when I'm not. Music softens, tone becomes reflective. There is another layer to his silence, a deeper, more vulnerable one. A man loves with a loyalty that is often invisible. When he commits with his entire soul. His loyalty is not loud. It is quiet, steady, protective. He won't make dramatic statements. He won't post emotional quotes. He won't express his love 100 times a day. But in his actions, in his consistency, in the way he protects, in the way he chooses, you will see a loyalty that runs deeper than words. Jung believed that the masculine heart is like a guardian archetype, silent, watchful, unshakably devoted to the person he chooses. He may not always say the right words, but he shows love in the things he does. He fixes, he provides, he makes sure you're safe, he thinks about your future, he tries to protect your peace, he sacrifices without telling you, he chooses stability over temptation, he chooses responsibility over comfort. But here is the silent part. He fears that his loyalty will be taken for granted. He fears that his steadiness will be seen as less effort. He fears that his consistency will be mistaken for lack of passion. He fears being replaced by something louder, flashier, more expressive, even though his love runs deeper than any of that. He will never say this, but inside, he quietly hopes that the woman he loves recognizes the depth of his loyalty. Because for a man, loyalty is not just commitment, it is identity, it is pride, it is the most sacred part of his love. This is the seventh silent truth he carries. My loyalty is deep, and I hope you see it. Music becomes warmer, hopeful tone. And now, we reach a deeper insight into the silent world inside him. A man feels responsible for the happiness of the people he loves, even when he shouldn't, even when it breaks him, even when it is impossible. He wants to solve everything. He wants to fix every problem. He wants to carry every burden, not because he thinks you are weak, but because he feels responsible for the outcome. If you are sad, he thinks he failed. If you are stressed, he feels like he didn't protect you enough. If you are struggling, he believes he should do more. This inner responsibility is not logical. It is emotional. It is instinctual. It is ancient. Men have carried this instinct for thousands of years, to protect, to provide, to guard. And even in the modern world, this instinct remains alive in his unconscious mind. But he won't tell you he feels this way. He won't say, I'm worried about failing you. I'm scared I'm not enough. I'm trying so hard, but I can't show it. So he keeps carrying the pressure until it becomes too heavy. And then he becomes distant, he becomes quiet, he shuts down. Not because he doesn't care, but because caring too much has exhausted him. This is the eighth silent truth he carries. I feel responsible for your happiness, even when I can't say it. Soft emotional outro. These silent truths shape the masculine soul. They influence every reaction, every distance, every softness, every moment of quiet love. Men do not live without emotions. They live with emotions they do not know how to share. Their silence is not emptiness. It is depth, it is fear, it is loyalty, it is longing, it is unspoken love. Beyond loyalty, beyond responsibility, there lies another truth a man rarely speaks aloud. A man fears rejection, not just from strangers, not just from the world, but from the people he cares about the most. He fears that if he shows too much of himself, his flaws, his insecurities, his true emotions, he will be misunderstood. He fears being judged for his weaknesses, for his moments of vulnerability, for the parts of himself he has always been told to hide. This fear is silent. He doesn't scream it, he doesn't protest it, he internalizes it, buries it deep, and continues moving forward as if nothing exists. He builds walls around his heart, not to shut love out, but to protect it from being crushed. And yet behind those walls he longs, he hopes, he prays for understanding. This is the ninth silent truth a man carries. I fear being rejected, so I hide parts of myself. Music swells slightly, tone becomes more reflective. There is another truth that lives quietly in a man's soul, his need for respect. Respect is not about fear or authority. It is not about control. It is about being seen, truly seen, for who he is. He wants to be acknowledged for his efforts, his intentions, his sacrifices. When respect is given, he flourishes. When it is withheld, he shrinks inside even if he never admits it. Respect is the silent fuel of his confidence, the invisible pillar of his pride, the foundation of his quiet strength. This is the 10th silent truth. I need to be respected even when I don't ask for it. And now, we approach a truth that is rarely understood, even by those closest to him. A man feels fear of failure, like a shadow that follows him constantly. It's not just professional failure. It is failure in love, in family, in friendship, in living up to the expectations he sets for himself. He carries this fear silently, rarely voices it, and often suffers in private. Yet this fear drives him. It pushes him to work harder, to protect harder, to love harder. But it also isolates him, because admitting fear would mean admitting he is human, vulnerable, fragile. This is the 11th silent truth. I fear failing, but I will never let it show. Music becomes warmer, comforting. And finally, perhaps the most profound truth of all, a man desires connection, deep, meaningful connection. He may appear distant, stoic, even indifferent at times, but inside, he craves to be understood, appreciated, and loved without condition. He longs for a presence that sees beyond the surface, that acknowledges the silent battles he fights every day, that embraces both his strength and his vulnerability. This is the 12th silent truth a man carries. I long to be seen, truly seen. Soft piano chords, fading to reflective silence. These truths are the invisible threads of his inner world. They shape his actions, his decisions, his relationships, and the quiet ways he loves. Men are not silent because they are unfeeling. They are silent because they feel too much and have never been shown that it is safe to share it. Their silence is not emptiness. It is depth. It is shadow. It is devotion. It is longing. It is the untold poetry of the masculine soul. And when you understand this, when you honor this, you begin to see the man not as distant, not as unfeeling, but as profoundly human.